So it's midsummer. I thought I might do another market update for what's going on with different TCGs, maybe some different games. A weird thing, I ordered something called Sakia Arms. Knew nothing about it. I think I pre-ordered it because my distributor said, "Hey, this is for pre-order," and I basically just saw the cover, and I'm like, maybe I'll pre-order that, and I did. And then it came in, and as my nephew Matt was entering it into inventory, someone came in and said, "Can I buy those?" And then it just went, which is pretty good turnaround time. It was something that you can't really expect. I don't know if anyone knows anything about Sakura Arms, and is it a good game? What do you think about it? Is it something that is a continual carry thing? Like, are these just a one and done game with I don't know, expansions, as opposed to, say, you know, different sets that are all, collectible cards? Is it just sort of more like Dominion, where it's, all the cards are in one box? Let me know. So I guess I'll start with what order should I do it? I guess I'll start with the one that's having the least activity to most activity, I guess. And I'd say, Metazu's dead, so there. Flesh and Blood? No, Sorcery has less activity. So Beta came out in November. Some reprint of Beta came out for Asia and South America, mostly Asia, in April or May. And it was, maybe late May, early June. And it was labeled Summer Sorcery because of Summer Magic. If you want to know more about that, go look it up. It's a very limited reprint of the revised set, or a preprint of the revised set. I can't remember what. Yeah, I think it was a preprint of the revised set, so in between Unlimited and Revised. But with Sorcery, it's just another print of Beta, and apparently with more saturated colors, more vivid colors from some people's perspectives. Some people prefer Summer Sorcery to the previous Sorcery. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But that is the only other thing that has come out since November of 2023. But October 3rd or 4th is when Arthurian Legends is coming out, and people really want to get Arthurian Legends, and we're in this whole one set a year thing for Sorcery, so it kind of turned into a lull. I have a tournament coming up on July 27th, and I don't have many people signed up to it. I've got great prizes, and if 3 or 4 people show up, well, then they're just going to be in the top 4, and they're going to get some awesome stuff, and I'm not going to make my money back from it, but it doesn't really matter because I like Sorcery, and I want the people in my store that have started playing Sorcery, which is only 2 people so far. I want them to possibly have more people to play with. I want to run more drafts for them, but I don't really have much beta left. Some more I got from the Rudy kit, but I think if there's a very few people at the tournament, then once the tournament's done, it's 4 people, it's not going to last very long, then I can probably do another draft after that. And then, when Arthurian Legend comes out, I'll get a bunch of boxes. I'll be able to, move a bunch of boxes, and then hopefully it sells as well as Beta did. I don't know if it will. People know that it's going to come out in waves, so don't pay exorbitant prices, because it'll be more available than Beta was for longer. Like, not in the quantities necessarily of Beta. It could have a lower print run, it could have a higher print run. We don't know, but it'll be coming out in waves, therefore it'll be available for longer, so therefore you don't have to FOMO into it. And then there's going to be another, or a continuation of the reprint of Beta for stores in North America and underserved areas. Not as many for North America, mostly for underserved areas, as they've run drafts and tournaments, that sort of stuff. And that'll come out either shortly before or shortly after Arthurian Legends. They said fall, I think, for the continuing reprint of Beta. It's a very, very small reprint, so that'll probably be it for beta. We don't necessarily know. Anyway, that's enough sorcery because there's not much news other than it's coming out October 3rd, and there might be a little bit more beta. Now, the next would probably be, I guess, Flesh and Blood. I carried some boxes. No one really ever came in and bought it. I did a box opening. I enjoyed the box opening. I enjoy playing it. I don't get many people coming in asking to play it. I would play it with more people if they came in, but it's not really either people don't know about it or they're not interested in it. When they become interested in it, I'll carry it. It's a good game, but it seems that the single sales are pretty great. So I mean, I could bring in more boxes, open boxes, sell some singles if I had more time, which I don't. So I may do that over the winter. I don't know. I'll see. So then the next one with the, I guess, least activity is technically, I guess, Lorcana, although, you know, it does have a much bigger player fan base than either Sorcery or Flesh and Blood. But the last, well, everything except for first chapter has landed kind of with a thud, like, at least for me. And I think in general, from what I understand, you know, the Floodborne came out. I mean, it went under what would be considered MSRP, and it may have even dipped under, you know, what the store paid for it. People were trying to move it quickly. Inklands, same thing happened within, you know, a week or two of it coming out. Ursula's Return, Revenge, whatever. People were excited about it on release date and then gone. There's another set coming out at the end of summer. I'm expecting it'll do the same thing. It could just be the type of, you know, the type of emotions or the type of people that are involved with Lorcana, and that's how they engage with these games. That Lorcana, I think, has brought in a lot of people that aren't big gamers and aren't TCG players, so they have different attitudes and different priorities. So while they may like this collectible card game and it's a new thing for them to try, I don't think that they're going to put that ahead of, say, some other things like, you know, I don't know, taking the kids out to I don't know, to the cottage or something like that, and you know, going hiking. And, you know, I think that Lorcana players are more likely to be more active and have kids, and therefore have less time for TCG. So I think they'll be super excited on release, and then a lot of other things in regular life will kind of take over, and they'll move on until the next set, and then they might get super excited again. So I think it seems you kind of got to move it as quickly as you can, keep it on the shelf. I don't know how many people continually come in looking for more packs. Maybe having one or two booster boxes if you're a medium-sized store, and having almost none if you're a small store like mine. Because almost no one comes in and asks for Lorcana in comparison to, you know, Magic and Pokemon, obviously. More so, certainly, than Sorcery and Flesh and Blood, but that's about it. Pokemon. I don't know much about Pokemon. I've done some box openings. You can see how little I know about Pokemon. Matt is more into Pokemon than I am. But I kind of started buying a case of each set, starting with Temporal Forces. The Scarlet and Violet really moved poorly throughout, like, the last half of 2023 when I first opened the store. And you know, Pokemon is good to have because it brings in a lot of clientele eventually, I guess. You know, from time to time, people come in looking for some Pokemon, and it's good to have Pokemon around for them to buy. But the early Scarlet and Violet was really looked down upon. I think the newer Scarlet and Violet have, you know, a little bit more interest comparatively to what around the time period that the other ones were out. 151, you know, came and went because there wasn't any of it. But I haven't heard anyone talk about 151 in a long time, so I'm not even sure how interested people are in it to this day. Because I brought from the distributor, I had to spend more than you usually would to get 36, you know, loose packs, as opposed to a a bundle, because they had no more bundles, but they had these loose packs. For whatever reason, they were manufactured in Ireland. I don't know. Does anyone know of a card manufacturer in Ireland? And I thought Pokemon had their own printer. Is it in Ireland? I don't know. Anyway, I liked the Midnight Masquerade or Twilight Masquerade. Temporal Force seemed good. I'll bring in the next set, and it just seems that Pokemon is this thing where you crack it for singles, but you got to build up sort of a street cred of someone who has Pokemon singles. So that takes some time, and then in the meantime, stuff doesn't sell, and 2 years later, people are like, "Oh, I really want the thing. It's out of print. It's now double the price." At least this seems to be, Rudy says this on Alpha Investments, but I've seen it happen in other places too, so that just seems to be what Pokemon is. And then Yu-Gi-Oh! I guess technically Yu-Gi-Oh! Has even less activity, as far as I can tell, than anything else I've talked about so far. So there's really nothing to say about Yu-Gi-Oh! Unless you think I should talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Tell me something interesting about Yu-Gi-Oh! And then, even though technically this should go also at the beginning, HeroClix. I love HeroClix. You can see I have a video on my channel, the case for playing HeroClix. Its market is, close to, I'm not going to say it's necessarily on life support, but it's not. It moves a little, maybe. But, no one talks about it. No one plays it. I'd like there to be more players in the store. It's my favorite game. I've said that before. It seems like the sets that come out, as usual, WizKids never delivers on release day. So who knows when, you pre-order a set, it says it's coming out on this day, who knows when it will. That doesn't actually bother me that much. It bothers other people. I don't necessarily know that I need specific release dates. Magic, it's helpful for Magic. I don't care really about the other release dates for any other game. But once the set comes out, there then seems to be very, very limited supply after that. Then this started happening after Avengers Forever, I think, because there's still some booster bricks from previous sets from Avengers Forever going back a little bit at distribution, but finding like Notorious, and I got a little bit more of Wheels of Vengeance, but it seems like if people are cutting down their print runs, WizKids definitely is, and obviously they'd have to, but it seems like they're also not keeping a lot in stock to then move towards stores. And you could see that on their website they had a lot of like big, door crasher sales last year and the year before, and then every store that carried HeroClix basically dumped it. So the amount of stock of HeroClix left is mostly eBay, and I'm not even sure. The last time I looked was about a year ago, or more. I bought some flash bricks and then remembered why I don't particularly like flash bricks, but they were so cheap. It was like, I had to. I really wish that more people would start playing HeroClix. Just as a casual game, like you and a friend grab a couple of boosters and then you play with the HeroClix from that. It doesn't have to be a competitive thing. It has a competitive scene, but it's always for me been a casual game and not something like Magic. You can spend a whole lot of money on every set, get stuff. I don't think you need to do that with HeroClix. You can just buy a couple boosters every few months and add to your own little tiny collection. And that's all you really need is a tiny collection. As long as you and your friends all have a little tiny collection, there's no meta advantage between any of you. And one time some guy gets something that's really cool, and that's actually one of those great moments of collectible games, is someone gets something that's so overpowered you're like, I got to find something that's an answer to that, and you can't. So, and you just got to buy one single figure, and then you have that memory of the time when either you had this OP figure or they had this OP figure. So if you want to get into HeroClix, just buy a couple boosters. Buy starter. There's like these little board games that teach you how to play them. They're not starter kits, but they're similar. They're disappearing off of shelves, and they've gone back to starter kits. And a starter kit can help you learn how to play as well. And they've been doing putting out something similar to what Magic has with collector boosters. If you want high-end, not high-end, but just the more chases, more rares, that kind of stuff. But again, HeroClix isn't really moving. I expect at some point in the future, HeroClix will start moving again. It's just in a dead zone and has been since the pandemic, and it just needs something to bring it back. Don't know what that is. Maybe when Magic has their Marvel set, maybe when Marvel starts making movies that everybody gets hyped about again, which they haven't been doing in a while. However much I might like Ant-Man Quantumania, I thought it was good. Most people didn't, and the other stuff that they've been putting out has also been, limiting that. But then again, you have Star Wars. I'm not carrying the Star Wars Unlimited card game, but it moved great for the stores that did decide to pre-order it and had it. And Star Wars has also been putting out some pretty terrible TV shows and movies over the years, Mandalorian withstanding. And the last good movie was Rogue One, and Mandalorian and Andor were okay. I don't think everyone liked Andor. I liked Andor. Anyway, the IP, if it has hype and excitement of the people, then the product itself, based on the IP, moves. And so now we get into Magic, and we're talking about the different IPs. I didn't know that there was any sort of hype for Lord of the Rings, but apparently there was, and that Beyond set really moved well. And then Doctor Who, which I prefer Doctor Who to Lord of the Rings, that moved quite well, not gangbusters. And then Fallout, which I love, was like to the moon, and you can't get it now. So I mean, you can get commander decks, but you can't get collector boosters unless you're going to pay a hell of a lot for them. And then we're at Assassin's Creed. So there's a whole lot of people before and now they feel justified because the box was at $400 US and has dropped down to 200 and last time I looked was $240 US on TCG Player. That's still a healthy profit margin. The 400 was a pretty awesome profit margin. The kind of almost like a 40% that stores usually don't see. Usually it's it's somewhere around 10 to 20%, 5%. And in the last few years, it's been, negative 5 to 5%. So the idea that it's not doing well or it's a failure, I mean, it's a failure in the sense if you think that you don't like it and you think that everybody agrees with you, then sure, that is a failure. But financially, is it a failure? I don't know, because the amount of stuff, the depth of the collector boxes on TCG Player at 240, it quickly goes back to 275, 300, 350, 400. There's not much. So if you don't like it and you don't think there's any good cards in it, that's great. I mean, then don't pick it up. But if there's stuff that you want in there, I mean, as the professor says, buy singles. But if you wanted to pick up a box of it to open, to crack packs, I don't think it's really draftable, unfortunately. Not even obviously a collector booster box isn't draftable. I mean, I guess you could draft with collector booster boxes, but not these ones because they don't have enough cards in them. So you need the chaff to be draftable. So you need somewhere around 15 cards in a pack, not 7 or 8 or 10. You can do more packs, but I don't think it really works that well. Matt tried it with Carla of Manor packs and Assassin's Creed packs, which I guess if you don't like Assassin's Creed, you certainly don't like Karlov Manor, but his reason was there's lots of assassins in Karlov Manor as well, and he liked it, but some of the others that drafted it were kind of bored by it. So I don't know. I don't think it's draftable. It's just a crack pack and get what you want. I have box opening. In both box openings, I got what I wanted, which was Socrates. See? Socrates. I'm the dollar store Socrates. That's all I really wanted from the set. A real life person. And Cleopatra, I mean, she's okay. Da Vinci, he's fine. But Socrates is someone that I want. And I didn't open Hemlock. Matt did, so I got some Hemlock too. So I got Socrates and Hemlock. That's all I wanted from the set. There's some cool cards in there that I've seen that I'm like, I might actually add those to decks, so maybe there are more cards than just Socrates. And anyway, so Magic is, I opened the store at Commander Masters, and it took forever to move that Commander Masters, and I spent a lot on it, way more than any other set that I've spent so far, short of Beta Sorcery. And Beta Sorcery was gone in a week or two. And Commander Masters took 6 to 8 months to move. And it's mostly just the price point. And the price point was not as high with Modern Masters, but then I got basically a third of what I spent on Commander Masters, and it moved really quickly. And Assassin's Creed hasn't moved quickly, but then again, I'm not eager to move it out because I think that people are sleeping on the set. I think that people want to complain about something, and since after Karlov Manor, there hasn't been much to complain about because a lot of the stuff has been good. Even Ravnica Remastered, like, people weren't super hyped on it, but they didn't feel the need to, they didn't really complain about it. They kind of liked it. They wanted to get the Shocklands and a bunch of the other stuff that's in Ravnica, and it was certainly better than Karlov Manor. And then Outlaws of Thunder Junction, people enjoyed that set. They weren't super hyped about it, again, but they enjoyed it and they bought it. And then Modern Horizons 3, and people basically, it has been a long time since people lost their minds and, in droves just ate up everything. Oh, and then, of course, Fallout, but Fallout was so underprinted that it didn't move. And then if you go back to the previous year, Exelon, people were really hyped about that set, even more hyped than Modern Horizons 3, but it's a standard set, lower prices. It just continually moved. Wilds of Eldraine didn't move nearly as much as Ixalan, but it was fine. Anyway, so now we're at Assassin's Creed, and I think people are more interested in Bloomburrow, and that's what's coming out next month. And I can understand why people, you got Modern Horizons 3, and then a month later you got Assassin's Creed, and then a month later you got Bloomburrow. What are you going to pick? You're going to pick the one that has, you can't draft, it might have Assassin's Creed, and it might be a very popular IP, but Modern Horizons 3 has the cards that you really, really want, and Bloomburrow has the feel that you really, really want. So a Beyond set with Assassin's Creed is something I'll pick up later because everyone's telling you, oh, this set has failed and it's going to be on discount soon, so you can get it for cheap. But I don't know. I don't think they should be telling you that. I mean, it could happen. It could very well happen. There could be less demand than the very limited amount that they printed, but stores really under-ordered this, I think. And I was going to under-order it, but then when Fallout did so well, I'm like, I guess I'll order more Assassin's Creed. So I got, more than I got for Fallout. But there was this allocation period where things got cut in half, and people like big stores got cut from like 3,000 boxes down to like a couple hundred boxes, and I don't know, it's very limited, and maybe people are right. Maybe there is no demand for the set because of the way that it's structured, the few cards in there per pack, like 7 cards in a Beyond booster, 10 cards in a collector booster, and there isn't enough hits in there to justify that. And maybe even with the limited printing, with the lower demand and also the general dislike of that type of product, maybe it does go on discount in a few weeks, in a few months, and maybe you might get it cheaper. But I really don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. And it's kind of why I made this video today, because I kind of want a record of, like, a year from now, I think people are going to look back and Assassin's Creed collector boxes are going to be really expensive, and they're not going to be able to get them, and they're going to be like, well, why did everyone tell me I was going to be able to get this on discount? That never happened. I think $240 a box on TCG Player is the discount. It might go lower than that, but I have no idea. It could go higher than that. I mean, like I said, it's shallow. There's a very few boxes on TCG Player. The reason that that price dropped is, I think there's a bunch of stores that get these little promos from TCG Player if they move a lot of stuff. And to move a lot of stuff, you gotta move a lot of stuff. So therefore, you got to make it as cheap as possible. So to get their name out there, they move the product at cost or below, because when they buy that much, their cost isn't the same as our cost, and then the math works out in that at the very least they break even on it, but their name is out there and they've acquired a lot of more customers. So when that happens, and it's been happening for, I don't know, I think as far back as Commander Masters, maybe further, there's been certain sellers that get this thing going on TCG Player. If you watch Kitchen Table TCG, there's a podcast where they an episode like from 3 months ago, where they talked to someone from the Banana Stand, which is one of the ones that did it with Outlaws of Thunder Junction, and they explain the whole process and why they do it and how it's done. Then I'll go into nitty-gritty details because there's only certain things they can share. But the point is, when that happens and a lot of product moves, especially in a shallow market, that moves the price a lot more, right? If you're moving 2,000 boxes at wholesale cost, and there's only 2,000 boxes out there, and the price was $400 US, and wholesale cost is closer to say 200 or 170 or something like that, you meet somewhere in the middle at like 240. If that is the middle, I don't actually know. But I'm just saying that this, I think, is a very short-term dip. And I mean, Rudy's been talking about it, and I don't trust anybody. But if I was going to listen to people, I'd be listening to Rudy, just because, I don't know, the stuff that he talks about, he's not always right, but then he also doesn't make definitive claims like this is going to be this and this is a massive failure. I mean he sometimes does. I mean, he did more so in the past, but now he's more of a I don't know what's going to happen type of person. But the point is that I'd like to see what happens in a year from now with Assassin's Creed, and I just want this video out there to voice my opinion on it, that I don't think it's going to be on discount. I don't think it's going to be dumped on Amazon. I could be wrong, and definitely, if you see this video and then you see an Amazon dump, and I mean a real Amazon dump, not like 1 or 2 boxes that you can get for a discounted price, but like an actual dump, let me know, and then you can say, hey, you were wrong, because what do I know, right? But that's half an hour of me talking about these TCGs, and Sack Your Arms. What's up with that?